Well, a very good afternoon to you and welcome to Ibru Up to Date at 1. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. It is the 26th of July 2019. Welcome to the program. And our top story this afternoon is where the former Kerio Valley Development Authority KVDA Managing Director David Kimosop has been arrested. Kimosop was arrested and detained early this morning at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport as he returned to the country from Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Kimosop is a key suspect in the 63 billion Kimorer and Aror Dam scandal, in which a former Treasury Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich, former Principal Secretary Kamau Dhuge and Susan Kowech, and the former National Environment Management Authority Director General Geoffrey Wahungu have already been arraigned before court. At the time, Mr. Kimosop's lawyer Katwa Kigen requested the court to give him more time to present his client for plea taking because he was out of the country. Now that is a story that will follow up in due diligence. Elsewhere, Nakuru Town East Member of Parliament David Gikaria has clashed with the Nakuru Deputy Governor Eric Korir over the intended elevation of Nakuru municipality into a city. Gikaria is accusing the governor of rushing the process. Here's Bonari Samaha with the rest.
Nakuru East Member of Parliament David Gikaria says the city plan is not ready and that rent, licenses and land rates will go up if the elevation of Nakuru municipality to a city is implemented now. He says that there needs to be more consultation on whether the county is ready for city status.
Tulipokuwa tunapeana maoni yetu, ikaambiwa kibanda kama ile imejengwa pale na yule mama ambaye anajisaidia itakuja iondolewe. Sasa ikiondolewa atafanya kazi wapi? Na kuna ripoti ambayo ililetwa kwa ofisi za governor ya kusema sehemu ambazo zitabomolewa. Bwana governor, tuiteni tukae chini na nyinyi. Tukubaliane. City ikiingia iwache watu wangu waendelee na biashara zao.
According to Gikaria, there is a plan by the administration to pull down stalls in the area, something he says he does not want his constituency to be affected by. He, however, says he will support the intended move to elevate the city if the local mwananchi will be the main beneficiary of the whole process.
Tutaomba kama city itakuja, isikuje kuumiza watu wa Nakuru Town East. That one, and then tutasema mchana kabisa kukiwa na mwangaza. Hatutakubali city ambayo itakuja kugandamiza ama kufinya ama kulemeza watu ya Nakuru Town.
On his part, Nakuru Deputy Governor Eric Korir differs with the Member of Parliament, saying he should stop misleading locals on the state of the city status drive by the local administration.
Ile kitu tu mimi nataka kuomba Gikaria ni waambie wananchi ukweli. City ikifika sio ati kila kitu inapanda juu. Kisumu ni city, wananchi walalamiki. Mombasa ni city, wananchi walalamiki. So hata huko itakuwa city na wananchi watalalamika. City ikifika hata hii shida ya barabara ambazo tunaziongelea, hii maneno ya kusema tarmaking, tutapata hela nyingi zaidi ya kutengeneza barabara zetu, tutapata hela nyingi zaidi za kutengeneza drainage mingi ili wananchi wapate ajira. Tutapata hata na pesa ya kutengeneza pia hata kunufaisha industries zingine sehemu.
The elevation of the municipality to city status has been a source of conflict among leaders, with some advocating for the process to be delayed for about 10 years, while the governor insists that the process should be implemented now. Bonaredi Samaha for Ibru TV.
Now this is good news. It is a reprieve for Kenyans after the government extended the deadline of August 31st for Kenyans to get e-passports. Kenyans can now continue using their old generation passports until March 2020.
The government had previously announced that the old passports will be invalid beginning September 1st this year, causing a scramble and last-minute rush for the new e-passports ahead of the deadline. However, in a statement issued on Thursday, government spokesman Cyrus Oguna said President Uhuru Kenyatta had extended for validity of the travel documents. Oguna urged Kenyans to take advantage of the extension to visit immigration offices to renew their travel documents. Despite Interior CS Fred Matiang'i earlier saying that the deadline will not be extended, President Kenyatta directed the Interior and Foreign Affairs CSs to work with foreign missions to facilitate the issuing of visas to Kenyans on the current passports. Last month, the Immigration Department said it would not issue passports to Kenyans with no plans to travel. The PS, then Gordon Kihalangwa, said some Kenyans were applying for the documents for the fun of it. He said the department has resolved to give priority to those seeking renewal of the machine-readable passports ahead of the September 1st deadline. At least 1 million Kenyans have applied for the new generation passports. The digital passports were launched in 2017. They have more security features than the old ones. Busana Naman for Ebru TV.
Now to the North Rift, where Rift Valley Regional Commissioner George Natembeya has warned politicians and traders involved in cattle rustling to desist forthwith or they face the full force of the law. He said they were planning a major operation that will solve the cattle rustling-driven insecurity in the North Rift. He gave the same message to unscrupulous traders he alleged were directly involved in selling stolen livestock in the region. Speaking at the Kenya School of Government in Kabarnet, George Natembeya said they had information on some politicians who are perpetrating insecurity in the North Rift and called on them to preach peace or the law will take its due course. The regional commissioner said they will pitch tent in cattle rustling-prone areas until they flush out all bandits as well as illegal firearms.
So we want our political leaders also to be accountable. Those who don't want to support us, please let them remain neutral.
According to him, the whole cattle rustling thing had become a circus. He warned that the days are long gone when mothers and children will sleep out in the cold due to cattle rustling. Natembeya equally called on chiefs and local residents to point out at the perpetrators, saying they are neighbors and they know them.
In our areas. How do wanadictate kama kutakuwa na peace ama kutakuwa na vita? Wakichoka dunia na nyamaza.
Regional coordinators for intelligence service, criminal investigations and regional police commanders called on chiefs and the community at large to identify the perpetrators so that they may be arrested and be charged.
Not everybody is a cattle rustler. So tafadhali majina inajulikana and the names is what we want.
They were addressing the security team in the entire county, comprising of deputy commissioners, their assistants as well as chiefs and their assistants. Also present were officers from the National Intelligence Service NIS, Criminal Investigations Department. Now elsewhere, Law Society of Kenya has offered to lead a dialogue following the revenue bill stalemate between the National Assembly and the Senate. Law Society of Kenya CEO Mercy Wambua said the society is ready to help the parties reach out-of-court settlement, as was advised by the Chief Justice David Maraga.
Law Society of Kenya Chief Executive Officer Mercy Wambua confirmed that LSK has offered to lead the dialogue to resolve the standoff between the National Assembly and the Senate over the division of revenue bill. LSK is ready to help the parties reach an out-of-court settlement, as was advised by Chief Justice David Maraga. LSK said, and I quote, "In line with the LSK mandate to protect and assist the public in all matters touching, supportive or incidental to the law, and mandate to assist the government and the court in all matters affecting legislation, the administration of justice and practice of the law in Kenya, the LSK Council considers it important and offers to lead the dialogue." Mrs. Wambua said the institution has convened a meeting on July 29th involving the Attorney General, Speaker of the National Assembly and the Senate, National Treasury Cabinet Secretary, Controller of Budget, Commission on Revenue Allocation, as well as other parties to settle the matter. When the matter went to court on Tuesday, Chief Justice David Maraga advised governors to seek mediation with the Senate and National Assembly to unlock the stalemate over the revenue allocation to counties. The letter copied to the parties and the President reads, "The purpose of this letter is to invite you and your representatives to a roundtable meeting at Intercontinental Hotel on Monday at 9 a.m. Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Kaindo Stefano.
Now back to the city where residents residing within Kapenguria municipality have been warned against dealing in water on roads, making some feeder roads impassable. West Pokot Governor Professor John Lonyangapuo issued a stern warning to the residents who have let their water spillage from their homesteads to the roads that has caused the county millions of shillings repair and putting up of gabions in reconstructing the already damaged road. The governor, while inspecting some roads within the municipality, said that anyone who will be found to be going against the directive will be arrested. One of the roads that has been destroyed badly is the Chief Bondeni Road, which has seen its drainage sweep off the road.
All the way mpaka kwa Chief Joshua. Nitafanya kitu ya ajabu hapa. Nitakuja kusimamia, nitaleta mashini, excavator. Nihakikishe maji imeenda direct kwa mlango ya mtu. Siku ile inanyesha na kila mtu naingiza kwa mlango, alafu nione yeye ataenda wapi na kiburi yake. Kila mtu usiku ana swimming pool. Umejenga nyumba kama hiyo ya fahari, naingiza maji. Huyo ni chief officer yangu. Sababu yana nyeta na kataa maji na ingiza ndani. Alafu nahakikisha siku hiyo mimi navaa gumboots. Niko na umbrella ikinyesha, nakuja na askari. Mwenye naringa, gear, put.
Now that was West Pokot County. Let's come back now to the city where Cabinet Secretary of Water and Sanitation Simon Chelugui says Nairobi faces water shortage due to unavailable land for the expansion of existing water infrastructure and facilities. The CS told the National Assembly Environmental Committee that the situation was complicated by the land succession and encroachment on existing water expansion projects.
Nairobi is ever faced with water shortage problems, but the situation is not going to get any better because of complication in access and encroachment on water infrastructure. The Nairobi County Development Implementation Coordination Committee that visited Karura and Loresho Reservoir found incomplete works at the site.
Nairobi water scarcity is getting to a crisis levels, because the programs that we are doing now will be able to give us water in the next 5 years.
The committee, led by Jane Katuse from the Nairobi Regional Commissioner's Office and Kinoti Gatobu from the President's Delivery Unit, said it is improper for private owners who have encroached government facilities to claim ownership to government property. This even as the county continues to face acute water shortage.
We require approximately 100 billion shillings per year to assure Kenyans of water security.
Out of 4,440 acres of land in the 11 water and sewerage facilities in Nairobi County, a total of 2.7 acres have been encroached by private owners. The Water and Sanitation CS Simon Chelugui reiterated that this has become a major problem as to why some projects have stalled.
We have to work out a modality of access, and we have to work out a modality of reinstatement. But also residents allow us to finish the pipeline.
Briefing the members on the progress of the government and World Bank funded water and sanitation projects in the county, Engineer Joshua Ichangi from the Athi River Water Development Agency says the water and sewerage facility at Outer Ring Tower is at risk. He says the water and sewerage facilities should be given title deeds to deter people from illegally acquiring their land, noting that a section of Karura office, which has a reservoir serving north and eastern parts of Nairobi, has been encroached. Engineer Ichangi says the refusal by some residents of Loresho to allow the contractor access in the estate to install a pipeline at a 650-meter stretch of riparian land where there is a stream has delayed the progress of the 3.5 million Nairobi City Water Distribution Modification Project works, as the residents have taken the matter to court. The team is today meeting the residents of Loresho, where the pipeline is to be installed, to reach an agreement on how the works will continue. Bonareri Samaha for Ebru TV.
truly alarming. We do hope the relevant authorities will curb that shortage. Now to the technological sector, where technology experts have urged to export ICT knowledge to other countries in a bid to create more jobs for the youth. According to ICT Cabinet Secretary Joe Musheru, Kenya is one of the countries in Africa which has embraced successful technology and innovation services, and that time has come to venture into other countries.
The experience from M-Pesa services, the financial sector is one of the sectors which has been targeted to offer expertise to other countries across the continent and tap more income.
That we as a country must address and must handle, that technology is going to help us in moving forward. And you can have things happen actually in minutes, if not just within a day. You can be able to get your mortgages, your loans, whatever is required.
ICT stakeholders say Kenya is leading especially in the field of freelancers, and there is need to provide skilled manpower for many companies globally, creating thousands of jobs for Kenyans.
Many of them have set up offices here, and they've got actually right now, tens of thousands of workers working for them. Actually, in total, we've got hundreds of thousands of people working online.
Already some of the companies have adopted modern technology and are receiving good results, reducing cost of operation and production.
Recently, you saw about contamination of meat, and one of the technologies that deals with that is actually blockchain, where you can track and trace from source to the end.
Technology will be a key player in helping Kenya realize the Big Four agenda, tackling manufacturing, food security, affordable housing, and health services. Victor Muturi, Ebru TV News.
Now to the Horn of Africa, where Somali's President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed Farmajo has started a debate on the global war on terror by making comment that it is okay for the terror outfit Al-Shabaab to bomb anywhere else but Somalia. The comments now put in question on the commitment to his election pledge to flash out terror elements from Somalia, a country where blasts and bombings have become the norm.
Neighboring countries like Ethiopia and Kenya could face blown-up times ahead if this statement by the president of the wobbly Federal Administration of Somalia, that is Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed, also known as Farmajo, is anything to go by.
There are foreigners among them Al-Shabaab who have refused to cause destruction, hardship and death in their countries.
The president, barely 2 years in office, caught on tape suggesting that the Islamist Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab fighters should go and bomb other countries, except Somalia.
The foreigners have come here to cause destruction, while our homegrown terrorists have become fools and are not traveling to where these foreigners have come from to carry out terrorism. They are not going beyond borders to cause terror.
In remarks that could tilt the global war on terror out of Somalia's favor and possibly affect the diplomatic relations between Nairobi and Mogadishu, the president seems to be making it clear that he could live with Somali Al-Shabaab, crossing borders to, for instance, Ethiopia or Kenya, to bomb targets in there, just as nationals from those countries carry out their operations in Somalia.
If foreign terrorists sent to Somalia return to their countries, it wouldn't be an issue, as they will cause no harm, as normally terrorists don't blow up their own countries, but foreign ones. However, our terrorists have been told to bomb, kill and harm their own people.
The remarks now likely to throw a spanner into the works over the controversial Operation Linda Inchi that was launched in Somalia. President Farmajo suggests that there should have been a reciprocal kind of approach arrangement between the fighters, further putting his commitments to flush out terror elements in his country to question.
In that sense, our homegrown terrorists are fools for not bombing others abroad and bombing their own. The Al-Shabaab was sent to kill their mothers, their brothers, to kill their own people, while foreign terrorists have kept their terrorist activities away from their home countries.
The move could be seen as Farmajo shooting himself in the foot, which also has the potential of opening him wide to a criminal indictment, as the latest recording exposes him as a co-partner in the bombing, maiming and killing that has become an enigmatic puzzle to the international community and a norm in the Horn of Africa country.
Now to the UK, where British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has reiterated his pledge to leave the European Union on October 31st, raising the likelihood that Britain could leave without a deal, as the EU has refused to reopen negotiations. Johnson said the withdrawal agreement negotiated by his predecessor had to be reopened, a move rejected by Brussels. As Henry Ridgwell reports from London, analysts say a general election seems increasingly likely, with the parliament deadlock and the British public deeply divided.
Faces and a fresh approach. Newly installed British Prime Minister Boris Johnson conducted a brutal government reshuffle this week, purging the cabinet of rivals and rewarding loyalists and pro-Brexit politicians. In his first speech to Parliament, Johnson pledged above all to leave the EU on October 31st.
To do otherwise would cause a catastrophic loss of confidence in our political system.
He said the withdrawal agreement had to be renegotiated, including the removal of the so-called Irish backstop, which would keep Britain closely bound to the EU if an eventual trade deal fails to remove the need for a hard border. Johnson promised a golden age awaited Britain after Brexit.
We will throw ourselves into these negotiations with the greatest energy and determination and in a spirit of friendship. And I hope that the EU will be equally ready and that they will rethink their current refusal to make any changes to the withdrawal agreement. If they do not, we will of course have to leave the UK without an agreement under Article 50.
That threat brought condemnation from the opposition and from Europe.
A no deal is a British threat. The only people who can cause no deal is the United Kingdom government. The position of the European Union and the position of Ireland has not changed. The backstop is an integral part of the withdrawal agreement.
Parliament rejected the withdrawal agreement negotiated by Johnson's predecessor, Theresa May, 3 times. MPs have also threatened to block any attempt to leave the EU with no deal, fearing economic devastation. Boris Johnson has not ruled out suspending Parliament to force an exit, with potentially huge constitutional implications.
The positions in Parliament will be even more entrenched now, and so in a way he faces a more difficult task with Parliament than Mrs May did. All he can hope for is that this message of optimism is going to be echoed back by the country. The country is going to respond to that, and that will make it very much more difficult for parliamentarians to continue in their resistance.
Johnson's only way through the political quagmire could be to go back to the people.
I think really, as much as anything, his rhetoric is gearing up for a general election campaign in which he is going to invite the British public to choose between optimism and defeatism. You can almost see his attack lines being written for him already for that forthcoming election.
The EU might agree another extension to Brexit to allow for an election, but polls show no one party gaining a majority and the public deeply split. Despite the new government, Britain is facing the same problems, with no clear end to its ongoing political crisis. Henry Ridgwell for VOA News, London.
Now to sporting matters, where Harambee Stars have shifted their gears in high preparation for a tough weekend fixture, where they are expected to travel to Tanzania to face off against Taifa Stars in the 2020 African Nation Championship qualifiers. Head coach Sebastian Minye is confident that his team is ready to dominate the East African derby once again. However, in the championship for local-based players only, Minye will face a daunting task heading into the match without almost half of his team that featured in the 2019 African Cup of Nations in Egypt. The team is expected to leave the country for Dar es Salaam later this afternoon for their first leg, as the second leg is scheduled to take shape on August 4th in Nairobi.
Mature player for this level, and it will be difficult, but it's always a good opportunity for some players to show me their quality. We will play with players without huge experience at this level, but nothing is impossible in football. Depends on the team spirit, and after we will see. Of course, when the opponent is better, it's difficult to repeat this kind of performance. You can realize that one time. Every time it's difficult. We lost Farouk as a goalkeeper. You need to find a different option, but we don't have answer.
Now elsewhere, Kenya posted a resounding 96-66 win over Morocco to set up Saturday's FIBA African 2019 against Democratic Republic of Congo, who got the better of Angola by 84 to 78 points on Thursday night at the Salamantou Arena in Bamako, Mali. Now to KPL matters, where the Registrar of Sport has approved the recommendation of AFC Leopards stakeholders to team up with the former office on an interim basis and amend the club's constitution in preparation for the election. The Registrar has since declined to recognize the group that was controversially elected on June 23, 2019. In a letter dated July 22, 2019, addressed to Maurice Amahwa, the co-convener of the stakeholders meeting held early this month, the Registrar of the Sport, Rose Wazike, directed 3 officials involved the stakeholders since the constitutional amendment entailed consultation of stakeholders before adoption of the same. Amahwa, who chaired the AFC aspirant and club on July 14, 2019, has meanwhile thanked the Registrar for giving the club a proper direction, which will solve the persistent problem of AFC Leopards to come out of the quagmire. Well, that is all we had for you at this hour, but do join us in our subsequent bulletins at 7 and 9 p.m. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.